Hello, hello, and welcome back to Transform. Sam and I are so excited to be in Austin on a Sunday recording for you because this is not work. This is such a get to. This is, as we were just chatting, like being able to be in this room with our best friend and talk about something that we are so in the process of and that we're feeling so deeply is the whole point.
Yeah, this feels like a cozy chat and kind of perfect for Sunday. I mean, like the weather's like cozy outside. We're together, which is always so special. But we literally were just talking about this topic in the car driving down. And it always makes me feel so good that we get to bring it to the mic because I feel like now we're speaking with all of you and you're invited into the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation where Sam and I are continuing to hold space for the growth, the changes, the seasons.
Those seasons. I feel like that is the word for this episode, is just really honoring life's seasons. And Sam and I have both been doing Q&As on our Instagram stories, and something that continues to come up primarily there, but even like in our own lives so much so, are these seasons of friendships and how seasons of life really do change what friendships look like in our life. And I personally have been doing a lot of work here this year, and we're really just so excited to share what we've learned, share what we're doing, reflect on where we're at, and then we have some fun questions at the end that you guys submitted in the last Q&A that we'll get to.
Yeah, and like Sam said, the word season comes to mind so deeply, and I think it's this permission and affirmation that we are meant to have these seasons. Especially in relationships, because if we're evolving and growing, that means the people around us are also leveled up to do the same. And that also can mean some friendships are also supposed to only be for a moment in time. Think about, if you're listening, the different friendships you've had throughout your entire life, but think about the different human you are too.
Oh my gosh.
And people have had to stay, people have had to go, people have had to grow with you. People came for certain significance. And I think it's spinning the perspective of allowing that to be the case, allowing certain people to be in your life for so many amazing reasons, even if it is a month, even if it's years, even if it's forever. It's allowing their existence to be there for the time that it's actually meant to be in.
Yes, we were just talking about this quote that I love that says, a friendship is worth no less if it's a less amount of time. And if someone came into your life in like a really important, life-changing way, but maybe it wasn't that lifetime type of friendship, that doesn't mean the friendship was any less than. It just means that you're both real enough to kind of like look at it for what it is and continue going through the seasons of life. But those moments are sad. Like I will share that we've both definitely been there, and it's hard when change comes up. But that change is the evolution of us becoming, and it's just something that we all go through. So what a better episode than for us to really dive in. And I know Sam and I at first wanted to really reflect on where we're at. And honestly, it's again, like just so amazing and such a blessing that we get to record this together, because no matter where I'm at, I always have Sam. And I'm such a family person, and I've always had that in my family, but to have that in even just one friend and to have that in you kind of allows me to put less pressure on everything else. And every friendship is different, and every season of life is so different. But when you get a friendship, like what I have found in Sam, there's a kind of like a revamp, and like you kind of recalibrate where everyone else needs to meet you in life. And even on the car ride here, we were just talking about how when I was in middle school and high school, I had plans every Friday and Saturday, and my life revolved around being social. And I was talking to my dad recently about it, and he was saying, for those of you who know a little bit about my childhood and growing up with my mom who was struggling in her own way, he was saying like any time that he knew I was at my mom's for that weekend, I always had all these social plans. And that's actually how I found safety back then. And then when I went to college for me was all about belonging. Like I had to figure out how to belong. And that was so much external validation that I got from joining the certain sorority, dating the guy in a certain fraternity, whatever that looked like. That to me was giving me worth. And then post-grad was a bit of a mix. And then now coming to Austin and being here, it'll be almost 3 years. I made so many friends so quickly. And I just turned 30 this past year, and making friends in your late 20s, early 30s is different. It's really different. Everyone's either finding the love of their life and getting married, or having their first kid, or trying to have their first kid, or looking for their dream home, or finding that dream home. Like, people say your 20s are the defining decade. I think the 30s are where the shit goes down.
I agree. You're like leading from such self that it's a different type of relationship you're building.
Everyone has so much going on in their own life. And I was so grateful and still am so grateful to have been met with so many amazing people who had so much going on in their own lives. And that was such an intention for Andrew and I in leaving Los Angeles, where everyone is a bit more like, la-di-da, I don't know if we'll ever get married or buy a house. And in Austin, everyone's like, no, I am married by 28 and I have a kid by 30. And, you know, like it's just a different vibe here. And I basically made like 30 best friends, quote unquote, best friends so quickly. And we all got to know each other so deeply. And then life happens, right? Like I think for everyone listening, we forget that life just happens. And it's not just happening to us, it's happening to all of our friends too. And when I reflect on this year, to be so specific, this was a year of me trusting in myself, trusting in the universe, trusting in my body for big things that we intentionally wanted to bring in, aka the little girl that we get to have so soon. And this is not that same girl in myself who once needed all the plans to feel safe. I'm now the girl who feels safest at home with my husband in the environment to which we created. And I'm so grateful to get to go be social in certain instances, but I'm not living for my social calendar and I'm not working for my social calendar. And there's so much more that my personal life has been bringing up that I need to pour into that versus being so external and getting validation from that. I've really found it from within this year. And I think for a lot of people that could look a bit more antisocial. I'm a little bit more of a homebody or a hermit, I guess you could say. But it's honestly just exactly what I need right now in this season.
I love so much I can be on the outside and reflect of one, how powerful your nervous system is, of like thinking about your whole childhood, what you just said, of how you found safety was through friends. Thank God for that. You needed that. You needed those people. You needed to be, you know, interacting with people that made you feel safe, whatever it was. Like that was part of your system and what it needed. You have grown so much since that day that thank goodness you have actually changed of understanding that's not serving me anymore. And I think it can feel really identity shifting in a weird way to be like, no, I am the social girl. I am the girl that has so many friends and that is who I am. But you did a beautiful thing where you paused and said, is that actually still my identity? And can I find new form of safety, which you have, which is being in a healthy relationship. It is being in yourself, feeling so good within your body, yourself, that you actually get to reevaluate of those things that were your protectors. Do they need to be there anymore?
Yeah, like you find it within.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're listening to this and you can identify with maybe what I have previously identified with as I was the social girl. I literally was like the glue. I was the connector. I was the person who was introducing everyone else to their best friends. And I mean, way back when, like hosting all the pre-games. And I was chatting with Sam. This is the first year, seriously, I can think of since high school that I did not participate in a Friendsgiving.
And can we say that that makes sense why this is a little like, whoa, like why you're having a big moment of this feels different? Because think about how many years you've done it one way.
I would host like 3 different ones for all my groups of friends.
And you're like having to be okay with this is okay to not have 40 Friendsgiving. That doesn't define your worth or who you are.
Right.
That's badass.
And it's not just me trying to like keep up with the rest of it anymore.
You're having choice, significance, understanding of what actually is serving you in this moment.
And knowing that worth doesn't measure up with like, you know, the younger version of myself who identified that worth with how many sleepovers and parties and whatevers I was invited to or included in on.
You just made me think of a situation that happened with someone in my life recently, and this has to do with dating, not with friendships, but I think it's important like relationally here. What we just talked about of the validation, I had a friend who was going on dates with like really shitty guys, and she was so hurt when they didn't like her, but these guys were like, it's the scum of the earth. Like, they weren't it, where I was like, how are you offended? Like, who cares? But I realized what it came back to is the shame sentence behind it for her was she was finding her worth in anyone that she was around. So it didn't matter if they actually sucked. She wanted to be validated and held and loved. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is so much about actually how you need to feel how worthy you are and that these people actually do not validate you and they shouldn't actually have a voice in your life in that way. And I think that you have done that so beautifully with friendships being a defining factor of your worth. You have let that go so much to be like, no, how do I feel about myself? And that is like,
I love you.
The biggest, coolest thing that I'm watching from you.
I love you. And I think as, you know, we are both such people pleasers and have been and are like doing everything in our power to really pour into self versus nurture everyone else. My thought of self was always alongside what someone else told me I was. And I think a lot of that, like, yes, it absolutely can come from dating. I think that is like, dating is the most vulnerable thing you can do.
Absolutely.
And then for me, like, once I had Ange, it was like, okay, I'm like dating all these like new friends. And yeah, like for so long, I told myself who I was based on who everyone told me I was versus me actually doing the work and telling myself, like, no, even though I thought I had to be this social all the time to feel, I can actually feel way better from home just with self of doing the work, getting to know myself, allowing myself to define myself versus the world telling me who I am.
Yeah. And I feel like I know we're going to talk about expanders, but that is how you have tapped into some of the most inspirational friends, mentors.
Yeah, because once you know who you are, you know where you want to go.
Exactly.
And you know who you want to call in versus just picking out the girl in the class who looks like you to be your best friend.
And that's when you have less time for the bullshit.
Oh, I have a no bullshit policy right now. I mean, my mentor, literally Sam and I both work with Carla, who's the best, and you'll hear us talk about Carla all the time, but Carla calls it my no bullshit boundary, and truly it's like left, right, front, and center, like no bullshit, no bullshit, no bullshit. Like
and it
I
needs
am just
to happen.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about where you're at with friendship.
Yeah.
Let's reflect on your year.
Gosh, I feel like, you know, I've had the same group of friends for almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
Well, I think that like I've known Helen the longest in my group for a decade, which is crazy. But when I think about like the core group of girlies who you know and they love you so much is, you know, it's this group that we have gone through life together. And in Los Angeles, where it is a place of so much exploration and so much discovery, I think like 10x a lot of places because there's a lot of options and choices and there is a lot of different influences. You have to find your people. You have to find your grounding place to call on the people that know where you want to go and they're going to hold you to that with love and compassion and grace. And I will say, I feel so grateful for the group of girls that I have found. And we have gone through so many different seasons and different changes. When I reflect of our relationships, when I reflect of our business aspirations, when I reflect of things we've tried, like we have ride or died supported each other. There has been so many seasons where friends maybe that were best friends kind of started to connect with someone else in the group. And everyone has just allowed it to be the case. And I think this past year, obviously for myself going through so many changes, I am now the only single girl in my friend group.
Which was the complete opposite
Which was
like a
the
year
complete
ago.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yes. I think there was like 3 of my best friends that were single in the group like last year. And now I am the only single one part of my core group. And you know what's the best thing is it feels no different. I feel these girls 100% there for me. I feel these girls looking at me this exact same way, maybe even better, of like, keep choosing yourself.
Yeah.
And that is a group of friends that I am so grateful for, that no matter what, as you change and evolve, they're going with you and they're supporting all the different seasons like I have for them. So I feel very, 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 very lucky. But I feel like in honesty, there has been so many different seasons with each girl. Like I think about Alyssa and I, my very best friend. Her and I have gone through seasons where we actually didn't talk as much. And I remember even on social media, people were like, "Are you and Alyssa still friends?"
Oh my gosh.
Which is so funny because we stopped posting as much together.
Totally.
And Alyssa was single at that time. And I was deep in a lot of self-growth during that time and needed to kind of be a little bit more of a hermit and not talk as much and not pour into my friends as much as I once did. And I communicated that to them, which was massive. And they respected that. But Liz got close with a lot of many other girls. And now we're right back to it this year. Like back to Liz is like gonna be married soon, I know it, but like watching her be in a relationship and me be single. Obviously too, I haven't really shared openly really big about the season of life that I am in. And I think that will have its moment in its time. There is a connection that I'm having right now that a lot of that needs to be really private. So I really appreciate everyone who is listening of respecting that privacy. There's just a lot that I'm processing that is important for me to process on my own and with the people behind the curtain. But what I will say is, boy, do you need your village when you are going through something as big as this and as life-changing as this, with me now stepping into divorce. And having people that without a doubt support you, no question asked.
Yeah.
Truly people that I call and share and a very vulnerable thing, and even remembering sharing with you and you just being without a doubt like, I'm here, whatever you need, I got you. You need that village there. And I've leaned on people more than I ever have this year. And that's something that I haven't usually done. I'm usually someone that loves to like process on my own, and then I'll talk to you when I'm good and I figured it out. And this has been a time of actually asking people for support, asking people to be my voice of reason when I'm having a really tough day, or to just be in my energy, to be in my space. I remember there was a certain day that I was like really having a tough time. And for the first time, I like called my mom and my sis to like come over and just like have a sleepover with me. And that is really new for me, but really important. And this season of just seeing my friends step into that. And I will say, like, I think that I have been that for them too. But to have it really received in return has been such a gift and something that I will remember forever.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. Like,
No.
I genuinely am just, like, every ounce of me just wants to applaud you and hug you and, like, cry for how proud I am of you. And you also directly opening up that receiving channel and asking for the support, I think, is huge. And speaking to the seasons of life and the seasons of people within our lives, and also how you and I tend to be like the nurturing ones. I feel like you and I in our like respective friend groups are we kind of have like the same role, which is interesting. And then we come together and get to be it for each other. And it's very rare that you and I are the type of person that actually asks for something, that actually makes it about themselves for a second.
Yes. I feel like even with our friendship, that's something that we have, because we are that for so many. Me and you like have to call on each other to do that. Like, I'm like, Sam, let me in the best way, because I know you can do it on your own, but I want to be there for you.
And it's something that has actually brought up such another pattern for me in friendship. And I didn't actually think I was going to talk about this, but I want to. And that when you feel things from people, from friends, And if you're listening to this and maybe it's a pattern of you feel left out, or maybe it's a pattern of you feel like someone doesn't pour into your cup and you're always pouring into theirs, or whatever it may be, I want you to think back to your childhood, like as far back as you can go. Because for me, I've realized that when friendship is very one-sided, I actually feel a lot of the trauma from my past of not only being that person for friends in a very lighthearted way that I want to show up, but actually that person for everyone in my family. And to have to provide so deeply in that way where I'm basically like cutting myself off and my own needs off to feed into someone who's supposed to raise me and like her narcissistic tendencies, that changes you and that defines you. And I've done a lot of research around specifically like having a mom who does have narcissistic tendencies. And it basically like leads you up to know that like in friendship, you actually do need people who pour into your cup, because in so many of life's biggest moments, you were met with someone who is a bit more selfish than the love that you needed to feel. And that's my very specific example. And in that same example, Sam, like you have always been the person who pours into my cup. You ask me how I'm feeling in a way where you know there's something underlying and I'm not going there because maybe I don't want to make it about me, or maybe I don't want to even talk about something that could be sensitive. But as soon as you give me that permission of opening up the receiving channel of support and love, I'm myself. Like I feel my best. And in all of my life's most challenging moments and all of my life's highest highs, I've realized that if I don't open up and directly ask for that support, like what you were saying with this season of life that you're in, and if I don't make the phone call, and if I don't extend that, and if I don't intentionally open that up, and I just have these big expectations that everyone knows exactly how I'm feeling and they know how to show up for me, I am setting myself up to be disappointed in people that likely have really positive intentions and want to be there for you and want to love you. So be very cognizant of who you are, consciously saying, I want to invest here. I want to open this up. I need your support for this, or I want to celebrate alongside with you, whatever that is. Be really conscious about who you're allowing in versus how avoidant you could potentially be from friends showing up in the way that they can based on what they think you're maybe asking for in those moments.
I love that. And two things just came to mind when you were saying that is, one, true friendships and true relationships are supposed to be those mirrors and bring those things out.
100%.
And I think that's the biggest gift of our friendship is how much safety there is for us to grow in it and for you to reflect things that I am needing to or wanting to tap into to be my most authentic self. And hearing that from you of having the aha moment of, oh, I need to communicate what I need. It is such a powerful thing to understand that friendships, even relationships, are not meant to be just this gliding flow. I think ours still feel like a flow, but at the end of the day, we are challenging.
But we're talking about the stuff.
We're talking about the stuff. And let those friendships be actually the ones you dream of, or the ones that you're a little bit frightened. It's not the wrong word, but it gets scary because it's going to be so good.
They stretch you.
They stretch you.
Yeah. Like anything that's so comfortable is likely not always where you're going.
Right.
And I love comfort friends. And you are such a comfort friend for me.
Right.
I think you and I, honestly, it's like for someone out there who might be dating like 10 dudes right now, because if all 10 dudes came together, they would be the one dream dude.
Yes.
You know that feeling of like,
Yes.
okay, like his personality, I like his way, I like whatever.
Yes.
You, for me, are my silly friend, my comfort friend, my expander, you're literally my business partner.
Yeah.
Like, we get to do it all together. And I don't really have any of those expectations across any other friendships. Like, I've had the same best friends my whole life. And it's because I'm really good at seeing something and someone for who they are and loving them for it.
Yes.
And not forcing it. But if you can find this type of friend who, in Sam, like, we can be in our pajamas under our blankies and just like cozy comfort watching Christmas movies and drinking hot cocoa while Andrew makes us dinner. But also the conversation of like, holy shit, this just happened and I need you and I want your advice and I want your support. That, like having that spectrum in one person is so rare, so huge. I'm just so grateful for it. But other friendships aren't lesser than for not being able to fill all those
Right. You
buckets.
can't expect all of them to be that way, for sure. I feel like this makes me think of what we get asked a lot too, is about how to find these expanders or these vision holders or these dream friendships that we're speaking to.
Yeah.
And I'm reflecting of even how you've come into my life. And what's funny is I don't think I intentionally actually asked for you, but you were obviously the gift from God. But I don't think that I like wrote you out or manifested you in a way that someone would think. Maybe I
You
would
were with your
encourage.
business, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I didn't know I would gain, my best friend soulmate from it.
Yeah.
But I think that is without even consciously doing it, subconsciously knowing where I wanted to go. Like if you're listening to this podcast, you're going to get those because you are intentionally asking for that by listening to this, by putting intention and attention to this subject, where a lot of people aren't doing that. So I just like want to call that out, that you're already
like this isn't like a comedy podcast where we're just gossiping.
Yeah, like you're already inviting the maximum amount of friendships.
100%.
And I'm excited for you because I think that's what was happening behind the scenes for us without knowing that, like, there might be someone next to you right now, if you're listening, that is going to be that person. When I met Sam, I didn't know she was going to change my life forever and be now literally my soulmate in a woman form. Like, thank God. But I took the leap of like feeling like, oh, this feels right. So I think it's just also knowing your expanders might be around you already and just be open to the people that kind of do make you feel like, oh, is this going to change my life? You're pushing me in ways that actually I think I need to tap into.
Yes, I love that because it's not always something new. It doesn't have to be something new. It can be the same person in a new capacity. And I think we should chat about what we would say an expander truly is. Because when I think about my life, and my intentions right now, specifically friendship, even putting friendship aside, who I spend my time with. I want to spend my time with people who are showing me what's possible. They're holding the vision of what I want to feel, where I want to go. And I'm sure for so many people listening, it's can feel so familiar to hang out with someone and reminisce on who you were, or hang out with someone and you're very comfortable in the now, but you're not talking about what's next. You're not talking about that next business idea. You're not talking about manifesting your dream partner. You're not talking about, these huge things that are so yours to have. And that's where expanders come in. They truly do just that. They expand what is possible in your life and they show you how to get there, not by telling you how to do it for you, but by just being them.
And you deserve to have those.
Yes.
Knowing that you truly are so worthy of those types of friendships. They are the ones that maybe take a little bit more time to find. But when you find them, those are the ones that are going to change your life. And then you can have the fluffy friends too that are there for so many purposes, like we've spoken on. And the friend that's, there to giggle with, or you might have more of a gossip more friend. Like whoever those friends are, amazing. But these expanders are the ones that truly, when you are with them, you leave and that cup is full. That cup is motivated, inspired. You are admiring them. You feel really safe. You don't feel envious. You feel really inspired. Like you're like, I could sit here all day and chat with you. And like vice versa, like you're giving them also such a beautiful outlook and insight. But there's something about them that is making you see the possibilities of life.
I feel like for someone who might not know what their expander might look like, my initial thought is if you are with them, you want to ask questions. You are interested in a way that feels like you almost want to like get them on your podcast and ask them all the questions because you just need to understand. Like you are so deeply interested in how they work, where they're at in their life, how they got there, where they want to go. And to me, that defines an expander.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. I think about when I went into Hoffman and then even after Hoffman, for me, expanders felt older. Like I have a lot of my friends that are more my age. And I remember when I was calling in expanders, I said, I want to see what's possible, but at 50. Like I want to call in people. There was like an age that I put it at where I want to see the dream life that I almost can't see yet for myself. So show me someone who's doing what's possible, preferably a woman, like absolutely being badass and crushing.
Yeah.
And after Hoffman, I met some powerhouses there that were women and they were in their 40s and their 50s. And then coming out of that, we now have a mentor, Carla, that Sam has beautifully welcomed into my life. And again, without even sharing with Sam that that's what I was wanting, I just put that out into existence. And now I get to witness someone who is exactly that, who has the family, the home, the career, the heart, the mindset that I dream of. And that's someone that I have a lot of questions for and I want to be around.
100%. And then what's interesting is you start talking like them.
Yeah.
You start hearing their perspective on things, and you almost like have your notes app out while you're on the walk with them and you're writing down all these zingers, all these quotes, and they just say it because it's so embedded in who they are as a human. But for you, you're like, I've never heard it that way. I've never had this perspective shift. And all of my largest unlocks happen in those moments. And they honestly don't even need to be talking about you and where you're at. It's hearing them talk about themselves that for me is always the most inspiring and interesting.
And I think that's something I would invite everyone to like take seriously is who you're letting speak into your life is so fucking important. Yeah. I'm like gonna say that with the F word because I have witnessed in my season of life who is not saying everyone has to agree with the season of life I'm in, but if you're not here to cheerlead me on, get out.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we just don't have time for people like that to interfere with where we're going. So pay attention to who you're letting speak into your life, your friendships, your expanders, who you're listening to, even podcasts. Like, make sure they're people you are inspired by. Make sure you are taking advice from the people that you respect and that you do want to be like them in ways. Yeah. Don't be taking advice from someone that you don't actually like any part of their life or what they're doing. They can be that friend, but don't listen to how they want to speak on to your life and over you.
Right, because those are projections as well. And I think any time that I don't know something and then I ask that question to everyone around me, what's interesting is my intent is probably to understand their take on it because I respect them. But what's actually shining light is that I need to find it from within. And if someone is going through something and they're met with big questions from those around them, I would say that those big questions are likely stemming from what that person's also working through. Because human beings by nature, like literally survival tactics, we have to care about ourselves. We have to think about self. Human beings are innately selfish because we've had to be to survive. And everything that you do around other people is going to project something in them as well. And that's just like, that's not actually selfish. That's not narcissistic at all. That is just what it is. That is what it is. So if you are moving through something and you're sharing it with someone and you're met with big question marks, just know that that question mark isn't actually for you to hold. It's because of where they're at. So let that live in their life and And I always say, like, I think this is a very simple thing that we can all feel in some way. If someone leaves you feeling like a question mark, feel that, notice that, do something about it. There's exclamation points out there. Find your exclamation points. I don't even want you settling at a period. No commas, no if and buts. Like, you deserve exclamation points on everything. Like, people should be screaming for you. You deserve that energy. I've had so many instances in life where I'm like, you know?
Yes.
Like,
no, it's true,
what the F did that actually mean? Why do I feel like this? Like, question mark after question mark after question mark.
Yeah.
Honestly, those are exclamation points, but just in the wrong direction. So redirect, don't take it personally. Again, these are projections that aren't like bad intent. Everyone has positive intent. I would hope and pray that you're choosing to be around.